Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Shemam Shai by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations unto my fellow laborers. The men who hazard their lives to do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the confusion of face, Akim, that are joined unto our ranks. To the hopeful elect and the Akwathium that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. You're going to start off with the scripture. This is Jeremiah 3:15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And that's what we do here, the men of GMS, and a few other Israelite groups that are out there that do this thing sincerely and with the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, which is the true name of the Father and the Son. Yahweh being the Father, Bahashem in the name of, and Yahweh Shai being the name of the Son. And that's who the world ignorantly calls Jehovah and Jesus, or Yahweh and Yeshua. All right, the correct names are Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, the true name. A couple videos I'm going to play just to show you the condition of things that are happening in the world, and the days that are coming, because you're not going to get this from anywhere else. And these things are making themselves more and more apparent every day. Okay, every day. So wait a minute. This is called "The Banks Are Getting Ready to Take Your Money." All right, and this is called "Financial Turmoil Explained." That's the name of this channel. Okay, Financial Turmoil Explained. And I'm gonna jump right to the about the 8-minute mark and let it play.
History. And he said, what do you mean? I said, the banking systems of the earth, in an effort together, working together, they are going to be able to complete the largest wealth transfer in the history of the world. They're going to rob all of your money.
Yep.
They're going to destroy all of your money. And listen, if I know what's going on with this, don't you think they know what's going on?
And quite frankly, I have to jump in there now because the spirit may have jumped in my spirit to say so. But the goal is to show you how simple-minded mass amounts of people can be collectively. Anytime, I'm sure there was a lot of people that had doctorates and degrees and that whole sort of thing around the time of the crash of 1929. In 1933, America went completely bankrupt, and the Federal Reserve has pretty much owned it ever since. All right. But anytime that you can get people, because what you see on the screen behind him is real currency, has been since the dawn of man. All right. And there are other ways to have currency too: land, animals, resources. But the main thing that was traded was gold and silver. All right. Then all of a sudden, these Edomites get in control. And they tell you that gold and silver is useless as they order you to surrender it to them. All right. So everyone gave up their gold and silver for paper money. And even in the Constitution, it says something to the effect that the currency was always supposed to be gold or silver. So that goes to show you how smart you people are not, especially you Edomites that have been in control. This all happened on your watch. All right. All this Edomite superiority, and you brag about all your accomplishments. All right. Either straightforwardly or subliminally, however it's done. But the failing course that the world is on. All right. All this happened on your watch. The deterioration of America. All right. Because these issues that he's talking about, you can't blame this on Tyrone, the dude on the corner with his pants sagging. The dude on the bus with his pants sagging. All right. These problems and these issues were brought on by pale Edomite men in control. All right. With who basically just were greedy, selfish, murderous, don't care what happened to the next man or other people just so they can become wealthy. So I just had to get that out there.
going on? They're all PhD experts and everything else. They know exactly what they're doing.
Didn't know he was going to say that.
They know exactly what they're doing. They're going to take all of your money. If you're in fiat, most people are, they're going to take all of your money. They're not worried about the few guys out there who got themselves a little bit of a hedge position against this. Because these rich guys, they've got massive hedge positions. So they're not worried about you. Take a look at the hedge position that J.P. Morgan Bank has in silver. You know? Hundreds of millions of ounces. He's not worried about your puny little bit of silver that you've got. He's worried about what he's going to make. And so if you make a little bit of money off of this, he don't care. They don't care. They figure they're going to get it anyway later. Because once the initial moonshot of silver comes, you watch. In the middle of that moonshot, watch legislation be put in from the governments that says that you've got to pay some sort of capital, not really capital gains tax, but windfall profits tax of some sort or another, or capital gains tax, and it's going to be like 90% of your profit. And they're going to get it if they can. But it's going to make a giant black market. But still, the idea is, in the end, what they're going to do is they're going to get all the gold and silver for themselves. And you say, well, how are they going to get it? Are they going to confiscate it? And all these guys out there have been talking about confiscation. They say,
so this confiscation or confiscation, potato, you know, he's going to give you a unique breakdown on how it's going to happen, which I never even thought of, which is why we're playing this video. All right, because they're going to get it from you once again. All right, so this is pretty clever, and I concur. I totally agree with what he's saying.
Oh, you're going to confiscate your gold and silver. No, that's not how they're going to do it. They're going to bring a hyperinflation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when all of you guys are out there starving, Aunt Martha's earrings, silver earrings that she gave you on your anniversary, you're starving to death, right? There's going to be all these little dealers pop up everywhere in the black market wanting to buy gold and silver, and the price is going to be enormous. It might be thousands of dollars per ounce. Now, I'm going to tell you how they're going to get the silver off of you. Because you're starving, you're going to take that piece of silver in, and the guy's going to put it on a scale. He's going to say, oh, it's sterling silver. Yes, it's sterling silver. It's wonderful. What is sterling silver right now? Let's see, $1,875 an ounce. And let's see, there's 5 grams here. You know? That's $500 or whatever. Maybe I didn't get the numbers quite right. Maybe $400. That's $400, you know? And that's going to feed you for a few days. So he gets that silver, right? And so does all the other black market dealers. They're just pulling in silver like crazy because people are starving. They're selling it. They're selling their jewelry. They're selling whatever they got. They're selling their coins. They're selling it to stay alive.
This is the reality of what's happening in America right now and what's going to happen once that hyperinflation hits. Because with all these sanctions that Trump is putting on the countries and the fact that all these countries are dropping the dollar, selling off their hedge funds, selling off all their U.S. treasuries, okay? This thing is coming. It's like literally like watching storm clouds in the horizon. Last night I was driving, all right, and as I was heading south, I could look over to the south eastern sky and see the clouds and the lightning that was clearly off in the distance over Indiana, but it was headed toward Chicago. Okay? So anyone who's not seeing this does not want to see it. They're being woefully blind to the reality. This is James, the 5th chapter, starting at verse 1. I'm going to read down to verse 4. And it says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." Because the rich people are going to take it the hardest, because Jake is used to struggling. The people on the bottom are used to living day by day, week by week, and day by day. You think you got opioid problems and suicide now. You wait until this economy crashes fully. Okay? If it's doing like this in the what's the word that I'm looking for? you know, when a woman starts to go into when she's having contractions, right? These are the contractions of the pregnancy of the fail. All right. And if people are doing what they're doing now, and this is just the contractions, you wait till that birth comes, the birth of the complete failure. The birth baby comes. All right. You're going to see massive Edomites lash out with violence. They're going to start shooting Jacob, shooting Esau up, killing themselves at a much, much higher rate. Okay. And it says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. All right, and it's not going to help them. All right, because there's all these people who've collected up fiat, like he said, your wealth is in fiat. You're going to have nothing. That's the majority of you. Because a lot of you still believe in this wicked place, which is called America, which is literally the Titanic. All right. Everything about it is a lie. Your history, even your nationality. All right. They've lied about everything. God, religion. You know, they don't want to acknowledge how they got the country, and then want to call people who are actually originally from here immigrants and illegal. And then try to implement laws where they're locking them up in cages and their children up in cages. All right. Esau does not want to pay for what he's done. And he only wants justice for anyone who rises up against him. I've also noticed, too, that anyone who doesn't believe in this current and crooked system, you know, they refer to them as communists. I'm beginning to understand the speech which Esau uses to say things that they really don't want you to understand. It's like a message to themselves. All right, this whole socialist and communist thing. All right, it has a dual meaning, clearly. All right, verse 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entering into the ears of Yahweh of Sabaoth. So the Lord on high, man, Yahweh has heard the cries of his people and seen the wickedness of your unrighteous dealings. All right, you dealing treacherously with other people, and now it's time that the people will deal treacherously with thee. And I'm talking about Edom here, all right, and America for that matter. All right, if America, then I just heard a report from the last vagabond, it's about $10.5 million a day that goes to the Israelis. All right, won't put that on the news. They put welfare recipients on the screen, and they show you mostly a bunch of hood rat nigger women. Excuse my French, with their whole bunch of kids, because that's the narrative, and that's what you want. That's what I mean by controlling the narrative, because that's what's shown, and that's the mindset that most people have. If you're being honest, you know that I'm telling the truth. When you think of welfare recipient, that's the first thing pops into your mind. Some big fat black chick on Maury saying you're not the father, you're the father, who got all her kids. When the truth of the fact is, the biggest welfare state is the Israelis, man. And here in America, all right, I think it's 45% of the welfare recipients are so-called Caucasians, Edomites. All right. So everything is unfair here because they don't even report the truth about news fairly. Let's look at another video.
Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse, and in today's segment I'm going to take a walk down to the creek and you can join me. I want to talk with y'all about the phenomenon of prepping basically just disappearing off a lot of people's radar. And I want to go over why I think that is, and also recap for those of us who have more than a 5-minute memory why we're doing what we're doing in many cases. So it seems like a lot of people over the past year and a half have conveniently forgotten the need to be prepared for basic things. But I also see that
because the problem is that Americans collectively, I'm talking about just people who live in America, whether you're a heathen, you're Jake, or whatever you are, but Americans have been conditioned to have a microwave mentality right now. That's why they forgot. All right. except for the serious ones like her, because you can say what you want about this little hillbilly country girl. She might not know that she's an Edomite. She may. I mean, there's so much Israelite stuff on the internet. But one thing that she knows that America is failing, and she knows that white America, so-called, is in trouble, and that whites are in trouble worldwide, and she's going to make that clear to you. And it's true, because this is time because Edom, the man of perdition, has been exposed. And now you're witnessing the downfall of Esau, Edom. Period. Is it hate? No, it isn't hate. It's just simply truth. All right? And if you're saying it's hate, then you're just in denial of the truth. Because guess what? She isn't.
There is a, how shall I say this? There is a lackluster, sort of laissez-faire attitude that a lot of formerly very dedicated preppers are now embracing. And I think, look at that, Chuck, my dog. And I think partially people are very positive about the economy, and they have a lot of reason to be. President Trump, who I've been very critical of at times, has been doing some really good things for people and good initiatives, especially as far as limiting the size of federal government, which any freedom-loving person can wholeheartedly endorse, limiting federal regulations and the size of the federal government specifically. But there are a few things that have not evaporated, and I want to talk about that with y'all for a minute. I'm thinking primarily about some of the global circumstances. South Africa comes to mind. For those of you who have been paying attention, South Africa, the land without payment grabs, basically government confiscation. Let's put it this way, socialist government confiscation by the lowest common.
There you go, socialist government confiscation. So basically what she's talking about is that those dark Hamites, those so-called Africans, are taking back their land from the Edomites. They're taking back what's theirs, and it's called a socialist grab. And she basically, in a subtle roundabout way, tells you that the race riots and genocide is getting ready to come upon them. And the reason she's worried about it, because yes, that is the sentiment towards you Edomites worldwide, because guess what? That's how you got every place that you are on the planet. The scripture clearly says in Genesis, the 25th chapter, Genesis meaning beginning, but in the 27th chapter, I believe, around the 40th verse, it tells you that, I started 37. And it says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. So you're going to be up under the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American in the end, regardless of what you do. That's your destiny. You had a temporary blessing where you got the earth. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Esau was created by the Most High God to literally play out the role of the wicked and to be the ruler over it. And he ruled it with the sword. And when you have a sword, what do? You take shit. That's what they did. All right. And it said that was his blessing. It says, Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine I have sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So he's like, hey, he's already been promised the kingdom of heaven. So when you reading about that new heaven, that new earth coming down, that's Jacob ruling, and that's the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, not you Edomites. This was your world, your Donald Trumpness, your Eiffel Towers, your Trump Towers, your Sears Towers, your Empire State Buildings, New York. That was your heaven, your kingdom, and now it's played out its role. All right. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, O even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac felt sorry for him. So this is what Isaac does. All right, because Isaac was given the power to pass out these blessings. Okay? And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling place shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. So you're going to be rich and wealthy. In the best places in the earth, you're going to dwell. And that's still the case. fastly deteriorating, but still the case. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, and thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And they don't want to talk about that part when they were slaves and when they served their brother. They kind of conveniently leave that part of history out and don't like to acknowledge it. All right. And one of the times that happened was during what you refer to as the Dark Ages. It wasn't called the Dark Ages because knowledge was gone. It was called the Dark Ages because dark people were ruling. After the fall of Rome, the Negroes ruled all of Europe. All of Europe, not just Portugal and Spain. All right. Because you can't deny Portugal and Spain. All right. And all the infrastructure that was built there, because that history is too out in the open. But what they did cover up was Britain, Ireland, Scotland, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Switzerland. All that's covered up. Well, it was. All right. But this woman is very well aware that the sentiment of what's going on in South Africa is going to spread worldwide against Edomites, because their time is up. They've run their course.
Common denominator of the South African people is up for review in about a month.
By the way, this video is called Why People Stop Prepping South Africa, California Secession. All right? And all this is going to lead to civil wars and race wars and class wars worldwide, which is already happening if you're just watching your TV. In almost every country in Europe and in most places in Africa and down in South America, you have rioting in the streets with people against the governments. Because why? Because everything's failing.
And, well, I take that back. It's in August. It's in early August, basically like 6 weeks from now, if I'm not mistaken. This is a big deal. And I know, thank God, the South African issue has gotten more publicity in recent months, as it should.
Well, because a lot of Edomites in America got blinders on them like a horse. They don't even know what's happening to their people in South Africa. And like, as I said, that's going to spread worldwide. That is a sentiment toward them by all people. And quite honestly, just to be the brutal truth is, how could you not expect it for all you've done and continue to do and not acknowledge it? You have your nice home and your car, but you don't consider how that came to be and who had to go down and be removed so that you could live that way.
Because of some of the issues that are going on there. There's a de facto genocide of the Boer people.
Yeah,
happening,
they're killing
and nobody
Edomites.
seems to care about it, primarily because of the color of these people's skin, which is the height of hypocrisy when you consider a lot of the moaning and groaning that comes from these nations associated with the UN. But the
Are you kidding me? All these nations associated with the UN were all conquered by the sword, by Edomites. And now that it's falling them, she's calling it hypocrisy. This is just, Esau has the mentality they don't want to pay for anything that they do wrong. When I tell you that these people have no regard for anyone's humanity except their own, period.
Long and short of it is that South Africa, the people of South Africa, specifically the Boer people of South Africa, are looking at facing down the very, real isn't the right word, the impending reality of having to defend themselves or flee for their lives. And that, I think, is one of the things that I'm looking at here in the months to come, because what you're seeing with the South African situation is an emboldened, empowered mob of communists.
So that's the new word. If you're against Edomite superiority of taking lands and making themselves wealthy with other people's stuff and establishing neighborhoods and cities and countries, and when those people raise up and like, wait a minute, we're from here and you took everything from us and we want it back, you're now a communist. All right? So it's just, I find it ironic for people who are always talking about justice, 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 does not want to give justice or does not like it when justice comes upon them.
who have pretty much destroyed their country in the past couple of decades. And that's not enough, of course. You know, and instead of wanting to have their cake and eat it too, now they want to eat the whole bakery. And if
this is some hypocritical stuff to come from an Edomite. It's almost comical. All right? It's almost comical. Because when they took America, it wasn't enough that they took all America. And then they moved Gad and they moved my people onto these reservations into the worst parts of America where the vegetation even barely grows. You couldn't even grow gardens, and there was no animals for us to hunt. The animals didn't even come into some of these areas, barely.
They are successful in taking these people's land and taking the Boer people's land and perpetuating the genocide that their leaders have openly talked about, then I think that will be a kickoff globally for an empowerment of a lot of Antifa sort of groups and a lot of the...
She just let it out there that they're coming for Edomites worldwide, just as I said. Because she's on point. She's right. Why? Because that's the time that we're living in. The prophecies are coming to pass. And I've been telling you this for the last 10 plus years. And the apostles have been telling you to you for the last 30.
The communist mobs.
And now it's happening. 10 years ago, people couldn't see it. Because it's crazy how many views that my videos are getting all of a sudden. It's just mind-boggling. And I know the Esau lies about the numbers. They're getting way more views than what it says. All right? And all the men of GMS and the different Israelite camps that are out there. Even the bug-out camps are getting views. Because one thing that they're pushing, even if they're pushing it incorrectly, they're pushing that Israelite vibe. Which is the truth. That's what the Bible prophesies. That's Ezekiel the 37th chapter. The sticks coming back together. All right?
We've been seeing that have been a little bit quiet in recent months. But, you know, make no mistake here. Our former president, Obama, has not suddenly gone off into Gulf Netherland and ceased doing business. No, he's young. He's very much involved, very much connected. I have every reason to believe that the same infrastructure and organizational networks that they used in order to get him elected into.
So now she's just, basically blaming it all on Obama. All right. Which through the spirit, she's saying what I thought. I just knew that when Obama was in office that all these things that are about to happen now were going to happen, because it would have been no better time than let America fall on the watch of a person of melanated color, even though he's a Hamite and not a Negro. All right, he's not he's not an Israelite. He's actually a Hamite, enemy of the Israelites, friend to the Edomites. Well, up until now, because them Hamites, they're out for blood against you Edomites now, because the truth of the matter is that the Edomites have wronged every nation on the face of the earth of melanin. All right, one of the days, those Indians, those Elamites are going to wake up and come back at you, too, for what the British Empire did to them. So this is a sentiment against you Edomites worldwide, man. The Japanese haven't forgotten what you've done to them, nor the Chinese. All right? It's coming. And you're going to realize that you're the minority and you're the smallest group of people worldwide.
Falsify votes. Get dead people to vote twice and 3 times. Vote early, vote often.
Now all you got to do is go watch the games in New York, and you can see how corrupted the voting process can be and has been and still is, way before Barack Obama ever got in office. So she's trying to blame that. Passing the buck. Esau never wants to face, even when they're on film caught doing their wrong, on video, they still are in a denial stage. All right?
I have no reason to believe anything other than they're using that organizational structure to undermine the process here, the electoral process.
So I highly advise you to go and watch this video, because she begins to talk about the failure of infrastructure when the lights go out, when the power goes off, when the water goes off, and that whole sort of thing. And I'm going to finish with this scripture. This is 2 Ezra 6:22, and it says, "Suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall be found empty, and a trumpet shall give a sound, which every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And at that time friends shall fight one against another like enemies. And the earth shall stand up in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So it's going to be no water, man. No food, no water. And it's just going to cause massive riots, food riots, race riots, class riots. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash, Wa Abababal.